All right, everyone, what is up? It is Blake here from Spice Trades, and today I'm going to be going over my incremental selling strategy with you guys. Um, I think this is a great strategy to use because you can lock in quick profits and at the same time leave some on the table in case the play runs. I developed this strategy because when I was learning to trade, I would get in these sort of battles between locking in quick profits and watching something run. So I would take a trade, be up 20, 30 bucks, take the profit, and then watch it run 200, $300. And then after that, I would take my next trade, see the 20, $30 profit, then would just end up hoping it would run like the last trade. And then I would either have to go back to break even or even worse, go into loss because I didn't take that quick gain. So the idea behind this strategy is to take those quick gains, but at the same time leave some on in case the play runs. And so today it's April 1st, Thursday. It's a 3-day weekend for the market. Um, I played Tesla today, and we played it to the short side. I bought puts, and I'm going to go over exactly how I was able to incrementally sell and catch the whole move. So first things first, when we opened up, I saw this kind of back and forth motion. I wanted the market to settle for a little bit because I wasn't too sure about today, and so I let it kind of digest for the first 30 minutes, and I noticed we made this pivot right here. And so I drew in a support level. We also have this nice price action on this level right at the open. So that's why I drew this level in. And then I ended up taking my first position on the break of this support. So um, I'm on the 1 minute chart. If you're brand new or you're still learning, I maybe recommend using the 3 minute chart as the 1 minute can be a little more hard to read with pullbacks, head fakes, or stop loss raids. So if you're new, maybe consider using the 3 minute, but for me, I was using the 1 minute into open. And yeah, like I said, I took my put position on this candle right here when we broke the support level. So I try and grab at least 4 contracts if I can. That's because I do 4 incremental sells on ascending time frames, which we will see here shortly. If you're doing common shares, this strategy works perfectly fine. You can just grab shares in bundles of 4. That way you can just do the 4 same time frames if you want. So yeah, I know people that use the same strategy on common shares, and it works perfectly fine there as well. So diving into the play, like I said, we took our position on this first candle, so that's going to be at 10:25 a.m. and we got in around a price of 684.05. So what I'm going to do right after I've placed my trade is I'm going to set a stop loss, an initial stop loss. And so the way I kind of do that is based on my capital and risk tolerance. I have a set max loss per trade that I'm willing to take and a set max loss per day I'm willing to take. And so I think this is a great idea, especially for new guys, because you never want to blow up your account in one day or one trade. And when you're first starting, it's more important just to kind of stay afloat until you get the basics down. So if you have that set max loss per trade and per day in place, it's going to keep your account a lot more healthy rather than just holding things into huge losses. So we got this little pullback right after I entered, which is perfectly fine. I never got even close to my max loss per trade, and so this was perfectly okay. It was just a little pullback off that big candle that broke through the support. And then after that, we started printing, right? And so I want you guys to notice this white line moving through the candles. That's going to be a 9 period moving average. I use a simple moving average. If you want to use an exponential moving average, that's perfectly fine. That's up to you. I learned on a simple moving average, and so that's what I use. If you want to use an exponential, that's perfectly okay. So first things first, let's look at what happened. So like I said, I'm going to sell in 4 increments, the first one being on the 1 minute chart. So we took our position right at 684.05, and now we started to print a little bit. And so I'm going to do my incremental sells when we close above this 8 moving average, right? So this is the first candle that broke above the 8 moving average. I want you guys to note that these two tails both went above the 8 moving average, but they are tails. So I wait for the candle to close above the 8 moving average, because that's more of a confirmation. And so that is where I took my first portion of contract. So that was a move from 684.05 down to 682.21. It's going to be a move of $1.84. So it's not the biggest gain, especially for Tesla, but we're locking in quick profit. So now we already have profit on the board, right? So now we have a little more risk tolerance. We can play with our position a little bit more. I do want to make a note. At any point in time, I return to my break-even price, I'm hopping out of the trade after I've already secured profit, because at the end of the day, the goal is to end with more money in your account than you started with. And so if we already have profit on the table and we're going into loss, that's just counterintuitive to the end goal. So anytime I already have profit on the table and I return to break even price, I'm going to go ahead and just stop out, because we can just look to re-enter or move on to the next play. Okay, so that was our first sell, right? We captured that $1.84 move on the 1 minute chart, and now we're going to start ascending on the time frames. So the next one I'm going to go to is the 3 minute chart. And so if we go to the 3 minute chart, scroll over to today, and so we can see where the support level broke on the 3 minute chart. That's where we took our position, right? And so we can see that the candles, the price action held the 8 of for this whole move right here. And so now we're going to get a bigger profit on the next time frame, which is awesome. So we can see this is the first candle that broke the 8 moving average. So that's where I sold my second 25% of my position. And so that's going to be a move to 675.35. And it's going to be a move of $8.70. So that's an awesome gain right there. And that kind of just gives us a little more room to play with on our, the remaining 50% of our position. And yeah, so now we're just going to keep ascending the time frames and keep doing the same thing over. We're just going to keep selling on these breaks of the 8 moving average. And so now we can go to the 5 minute. So I go 1 minute, 3 minute, now to the 5 minute. We're going to do the exact same thing we did before. We can see where we entered on the break of the support. And then, okay, so now the same candle on the 3 minute broke on the 5 minute. So, and that's perfectly okay. I'm still going to stick to my plan every single time. So we're still pretty deep in profit at this point, and I'm going to stick to my plan. I never let my emotions get the best of me, and the way I avoid that is by sticking to a plan. And so this is my plan. I'm going to stop out, or I'm going to close the next 25% of my position right here on this candle break at 676.80. So it's going to be a little bit less of a gain than the 3 minute sell that we did, but that's perfectly okay. Like I said, we're sticking to the plan. So that third sell is going to capture a move of $7.25. So still a great gain. But now we've closed 75% of our position, right? And we have that remaining 25%. And I like to call this like the lotto lot, or the like the fun lot, because this is where the magic happens. This is where the big gains come in. So next time frame I'm going to go to after the 5 minute is going to be the 15 minute. So I'm going to pop over to the 15 minute chart, and this is where the magic happened, right? So we can see that the 15 minute held the entire day. And let's remember, we entered at a price of 6084 or 684.05, and we were able to close all the way down at 661.75. So that's going to be a gain of, or a move of $22.30. Like I said, this was options, so I was over a 400% gain at this point on my last position of my contracts. So also, another thing I wanted to note is that we could have potentially swung these, because the sell signal held all the way into close. But personally, it was a 3-day weekend this weekend, so I didn't really want to hold over the whole weekend. So I decided just to take my gain and close at like a minute before close, and um, that was a really good gain. So yeah, this was a great trade. We were able to play it safely by incremental selling throughout the whole thing. I want to make a note that, like, this is why it's so important to like do the incremental selling, I think, because people will argue, okay, well, what if you just held all the contracts for the whole day? You would have made a lot more money. And yeah, you're right. But let's say after that first 1 minute sell that we captured, what if this buy signal right here returned back to the top? Like, the market is unpredictable, and so we have to play as the candles print. And so that's why it's so important to do these incremental sells, because if you would have just held the whole day, it would have worked today, but the next time you might get a reversal and end up going back to break even, having no profit on the table, or worse, just going into loss after you've seen that gain. And it can really mess your head up when you're trading. So that's why it's so important to lock profit in as the move continues on. So I hope this was helpful to you guys, and I hope you have a great weekend, and let's stay green this next week. Cheers.